An animated Stargate movie? Have I lost my mind? Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So, in a recent video, while I was talking about the increasingly likely possibility that Warner Brothers might end up actually producing the new Stargate franchise we're expecting to be announced soon, I suggested that Amazon MGM partnering up with Warner Brothers did open up an interesting possibility. The possibility of an animated movie. Now, Warner Brothers is currently producing an animated movie of Babylon 5. They're setting it just a couple of years after the series ended. They have replaced several of the actors that have passed away, sadly, with other actors. I should say, with the family of the original actors' permission. And obviously, all of the other actors have aged quite a lot. So it was not possible to do a live action project. So they've done it using animation. I've seen the trailer. I've put it on my channel a couple of days ago, and it looks pretty cool. Warner Brothers are actually also already partnering with Amazon to produce the new Lord of the Rings animated movie, The War of the Rohirrim. Hope I'm saying that right. Harris is going to be angry if I said it wrong. And Stormy might actually jump on a plane and come across and kill me. So for me, actually, that is a really big indicator already that Amazon is more than willing to work with Warner Brothers Animation. It should also be said that Warner Brothers Animation have been making these straight-to-DVD, straight-to-streaming movies for a long time for DC. And generally speaking, they've been the best DC stuff done. Now, I did get a lot of comments saying, no animation, no, I want live action. I don't want anything animated. And I completely get you. At no point am I saying that any animated project would replace anything that could be done with live action. I still thoroughly expect straight to cinema, live action movies, and of course, a bunch of series, hopefully, that will follow. But what I am saying is, if Amazon do decide to partner with Warner Brothers, like I'm getting to the point where I almost expect it to happen now, then there is this possibility with Warner Brothers Animation. Now, obviously, there are certain projects that could be done that would be difficult to do with live action. Say, for example, if you wanted to do something that was maybe set in and around the early SG1 series, you wouldn't be able to have General Hammond in it. Don S. Davis sadly passed away in 2008, and if you wanted to do a project based in around the SG1 series, his passing really does leave a massive gaping hole. Now, JMS, when he did the Babylon 5 movie, insisted that the original actors' families must agree before he recast them. I would want Amazon, MGM, Warner Brothers to do exactly the same and get Don S. Davies' family to actually agree to do this. But if they did, we could get General Hammond back in Stargate. The other obvious project we're doing in SG1 project is that the actors have aged quite a bit. Now, Richard Dean Anderson has said he might not want to actually come back to that. He's basically retired. But he might be willing, for a decent paycheck, to do an animated project because it's far less time consuming. You only go in for a few days here and there, do the voice, and then go home. There's no need for hours of makeup, hours of this, waiting for sets to get set up, blah, blah, blah. It's far less time consuming for actors. Now, I actually don't think that's a major problem for somebody like Amanda Tapping or Michael Shanks or the rest of many of the actors, but they've still aged. Really, it's only Ben Browder that looks exactly the same. That guy must be a vampire. He actually hasn't aged at all. Michael Shanks could maybe get away with it. Maybe. But if you wanted to do a project that maybe filled in a few of the gaps or told some sort of story that might lead into the new projects that was based in and around previous SG1 episodes, doing it animated is the only way to do it. Cliff Simon also sadly passed away, and his character of Lord Baal was one of my favourites. I would love to see more stuff with that character. Again, if his family agreed. There is another big project, though, that a lot of people want to see that I can't help but wonder would only be possible if it's done via animation. The SGU Conclusion. Now, we've talked about that a lot on this channel, and it is a very popular idea that we want the Stargate Universe storyline to get a conclusion. So it's been just over 12 years since Stargate Universe ended. The actors haven't aged terribly, but you could maybe say that everyone's still in stasis. That, Eli hadn't got a lot of food, so he slimmed down quite a bit, but that Eli has survived that long on his own. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. And that for some reason, Eli has to trigger the stasis pods and bring everybody back, and then they somehow save the Destiny, save themselves. It would be expensive. It would require bringing an awful lot of actors back. You would have to maybe explain the aging process a little bit, but you could say a couple of the stasis pods failed. There are ways around it. But would they invest that time and money in a project that is a little bit controversial? Not everybody within the Gators community loved Stargate Universe. I did a live video literally yesterday talking about this, how I actually found SGU a little boring. I said it was getting better, don't get me wrong. And if we'd have gone into a third, fourth, fifth season, I'd have probably ended up loving this show as much as I loved SG1 and SGA. But the first season was mind-numbingly boring. And I think most Gators would admit that it's their third favorite. There are people out there that think it's the best sci-fi ever made, don't get me wrong. But I think it's fair to say most Gators would say it's their third favorite of the three. So, would Amazon and MGM really invest the time and the money to bring back the third most popular of the franchises when there are other options? I suspect not. But an animated project is way cheaper, way quicker, and way easier to do. So what you could do is have an SGU animated movie, something that fills the gap, something that explains how a lot of those crew could then return to other projects in live action. I've already told you that I'm being told that Robert Carlyle has already been approached about potentially returning for one of the movies. So how can you do that unless we know what happened with an SGU? An animated movie might be the way to do that. And it will just be less of a risk for MGM and Amazon. Now, Gators, even me, would go nuts for it. I would love a conclusion to SGU because I hate that string just floating out there. I want it to be tied off. But also, it could be a great opportunity to give us something maybe before the cinematic movie is released, because an animated movie could be done much quicker. And I have to admit as well, I have to say, the Babylon 5 animated movie was done very, very quietly. We didn't know that it had been done until actually a couple of months ago, and it's released like next month. So we only found out they'd done that 3 months before its release. J. Michael Straczynski had been talking about it and said it was in the can around Christmas. So obviously he wrote it. But they were able to keep that very, very quiet. You couldn't keep a big cinematic movie quiet like that. You just couldn't. So they could do an animated movie very quickly. It could be released before the cinematic movie, and it could tell us a lot of the story that we need to know before the cinematic movie. It could set up all of those foundations for the cinematic release. To me, it just seems like a no-brainer. And I'm going to repeat again because people are going to jump in the comments and say this, but not to replace anything that can be done live action, to give us more. And it would be grown-up adult animation. It wouldn't be for kids. Babylon 5, The Road Home, is 100% not made for kids. I think it's got a 12A rating here. It's got a PG-13 rating in the United States. It's not, a manga 18 gore fest by any stretch of the imagination. But also, it's been made for Babylon 5 fans. It's not been made for kids. And only really hardcore sci-fi fans under the age of 20 even know what Babylon 5 is. This project, this animated movie, was made for 40-somethings. That's just the way it is. As I say, there are lots of projects that would be either just too expensive, too difficult, or just downright impossible to do using live action. But if Amazon really do partner with Warner Brothers to make the Stargate series, the animation wing of Warner Brothers really does give us an interesting possibility to fill in some of those gaps with animated projects. So get into the comments and tell me what you think. Have I won you over? Have I argued this well enough that even if you hate animation, that you can at least see where I'm coming from? Actually, would animated projects be something you would really look forward to because of the reasons I've described? Or is it animation? No, under any circumstances, leave it alone. And particularly bringing characters back that their actors have passed away. Even if the families agree, is that a bit of a problem? I would argue it's better than recasting them, but yeah. Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit all the buttons. You know what to do. Also, you can go to patreon.com/SciTrek, where you can get to see most of our new videos premiere first. And for a small contribution each month that really supports the channel, and you get a free gift after a couple of months, you get to see them without the adverts. As always, please stay safe, guys, and I'll see you next time.